In the monsoon-soaked days of early July 1902, Belur Math, the headquarters of the Ramakrishna Order on the banks of the Ganga, held a hushed stillness. Swami Vivekananda, then only 39 years old, was ailing visibly. Years of intense travel, teaching, and service had taken a toll on his body. He had been suffering from chronic diabetes, asthma, and insomnia, and his physical strength had diminished significantly. Despite this, his spirit and intellect remained undiminished. Disciples recorded that he continued to teach, to meditate deeply, and to speak of future plans for a Vedic college and the further development of the Ramakrishna Mission. Hence, and according to records maintained at Belur Math and the diary of Swami Virajananda, Vivekananda spent the first few days of July 1902 clearing out his room, sorting books and papers, and giving instructions to disciples about the future. He reportedly gave away several of his personal possessions and discussed the deeper aspects of Advaita Vedanta with young monks. He also conducted classes in Sanskrit, grammar, and Vedanta, despite fatigue and headaches. On the morning of July 4th, 1902, Vivekananda rose early, around 3 a.m., and meditated for several hours. After a light breakfast, he spent time teaching and discussing philosophical topics with the monks of the Math. He also visited the new temple construction site and reviewed the ongoing work. In his interactions with disciples that day, he was calm, composed, and, as one disciple later recalled, serene, with a glow that seemed both tender and powerful. Now that evening, after leading vespers at around 7 p.m., he retired to his room. He asked not to be disturbed, a request that the monks respected. Around 9:20 p.m., Swami Shuddhananda, who was on night duty, noticed that Vivekananda had stopped moving. Entering the room quietly, he found the Swami seated in padmasana, the meditative lotus posture, his eyes closed and his hands resting gently on his knees. It appeared that he had entered a deep meditative state and then passed away silently. And no autopsy was performed, which was consistent with Hindu custom at the time. However, based on his health history and symptoms, doctors later concluded that the cause of death was likely the rupture of a blood vessel in the brain, aggravated by his chronic hypertension and kidney issues. Among his closest followers, however, the belief remains that he entered mahasamādhi, leaving his body consciously, as great yogis are said to do. And then the news of his death spread quickly throughout Bengal and beyond. On 5th July, Amrita Bazar Patrika reported his passing under the headline, "Patriot-Monk Passes Away." Thousands of devotees, students, and admirers crossed the Hooghly River to pay their respects. His body was laid in the courtyard of Belur Math, adorned with garlands and wrapped in saffron cloth. At 2 p.m., it was cremated on a sandalwood pyre at the Riverside Ghat, a place Vivekananda himself had identified for this purpose. Witnesses described the scene as solemn and reverent, with the reflection of the flames dancing on the river's surface. Among those who later paid tribute were Sister Nivedita, Rabindranath Tagore, and international admirers like Charles Freer Andrews. Vivekananda's ashes were interred beneath a white marble slab at Belur Math, which bears the inscription, "Here rest the sacred remains of Swami Vivekananda, Narendranath Datta, who realized and preached that every soul is potentially divine." Banished to this day, room number 4 at Belur Math is preserved with his belongings intact. His cot, walking stick, and kamandalu remain as they were. Every 4th July, monks chant the Mahāmṛtyuñjaya Mantra there, honoring not only a passing, but the legacy of a soul who changed the spiritual consciousness of modern India